Judge Aileen Cannon rejected calls from two federal judges in Florida to hand off the case. This is according to two people briefed on the conversations. And the very fact that the conversations even existed is itself remarkable. I just want to underscore for you and our viewers, cases in the federal judiciary are typically randomly assigned, maybe not among all of the judges in a particular district. Each district has its own procedures for doing so, and geography plays into it to some degree. But cases are generally randomly assigned unless one or more of, a finite group of exceptions exist. And here you have
the great Julie Kelly joins me. They're all over Judge Cannon today. It looks like a leak. Well, I'll let you explain it, because you've put out some pretty mean tweets about this, Julie Kelly. What is going on with Judge Cannon, the stalwart and patriot down in South Florida, ma'am?
Right. So this is the latest attempt to discredit her. This is a New York Times report that posted today that says, according to their sources, two judges in the Southern District of Florida, the federal bench there, including the chief judge, Cecilia Altonaga, let's make her name famous, a George W. Bush appointee, went to Judge Cannon after she received the case, Special Counsel Jack Smith's documents case against Donald Trump, and urged her to give up the case, to hand it off to someone else, or to step away from handling that indictment. Now, the reason why, and we know why, and we've talked about Judge Cannon now for almost 2 years, is because she took the unusual and bold move in September of 2022 to appoint a special master. This was Donald Trump's lawsuit seeking a third party to vet all of the evidence that had been stolen out of his home at the Mar-a-Lago raid on August 8th of 2022. And she, as I said, took this bold step. She did appoint a special master, but in the process, Steve, she basically told the DOJ, I don't trust you. You've already mishandled evidence from the Mar-a-Lago raid, which we now know is true because Jack Smith himself has confirmed that in court documents. And also, she was very concerned about leaks coming out of that investigation to the media. And so she said, yes, I'm going to appoint this retired judge to vet all of the materials and see, what the FBI can get, what they're not supposed to get. This put a target on her back way back then. So when this landed on her docket, the Jack Smith indictment, then we saw the public pressure again mount and calls for her recusal. But it's not the New York Times piece in itself that's necessarily controversial. It is the fact that a chief judge of a federal court district went to another judge and tried to pry out of her hands this politically charged case so they could give it to what? An Obama appointee. There's, I think, 5 of them on the Southern District of Florida. I think there's 2 Clinton appointees. Of course, George W. Bush appointees, we don't trust them either. So why was this judge overstepping her boundary? She's not Aileen Cannon's boss in any regard, and try to convince her to give up that case. So, Steve, I think this is something, again, House Republicans need to look at. Was a federal judge doing the political bidding of the Joe Biden DOJ, Jack Smith, and the media to try to get Judge Cannon to give up this case.
Wow. I want to be very specific here, Julie Kelly, because people follow closely what you say. Hit rewind on that. You're calling on the House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan to do what exactly and for what reason?
To find out whether Chief Judge Cecilia Altonaga, a George W. Bush appointee, attempted to interfere in this politically charged case, unprecedented case indictment, the first indictment ever. Remember, the classified documents indictment came before the Washington J6 case. The very first criminal indictment of a former president was this federal judge interfering in the judicial process there and trying to get Judge Cannon, who had already indicated her distrust of DOJ and how the investigation was conducted. Did Judge Altonaga attempt to interfere in the process of this case? House Republicans need to find out if that is the case, and who the other judge was that went to Aileen Cannon and tried to take that case.
You're implying that the actual judiciary, the bench, is maybe colluding with the Justice Department and Merrick Garland and even Jack Smith. Is that your implication? Why you want it looked into immediately by a House Judiciary?
That's what we have to find out. So again, the New York Times kind of did us a favor. If behind the scenes, it's one thing to listen to Andrew Weissman or Rachel Maddow or all the other lunatics on the left call for Judge Cannon's recusal. It is another for a sitting federal judge to overstep her bounds, which it sounds like the chief judge did in this matter, and try to do DOJ, Jack Smith, and the media's bidding to get this case out of Judge Cannon's courtroom. Now, that has not been confirmed, but I find it very hard to believe, honestly, that the New York Times would report this without knowledge that this is exactly what the chief judge in Southern Florida attempted to do.
Are we going to get Fisher tomorrow morning, ma'am?
I feel sort of hopeful. Look, it's pretty outrageous that the Supreme Court is now sitting on 18 opinions, waiting till the waning days of this June term and we have major decisions, of course, immunity, the Chevron decision, the Missouri case of big tech colluding with the Biden White House, other big cases that we're waiting for. So they have to give us something tomorrow. So I'm hopeful that it's Fisher, the 1512C2. One of the opinions that was published today, oral arguments were heard the day before Fisher. So it's not like they're doing this in sequential order. So, and Steve, breaking news today, it appears that the Supreme Court did add another opinion day next Wednesday, because as I said, they've got 18 more cases, 18 more opinions they have to publish by June 30th, or maybe perhaps July 1.
Okay, it's Wednesday. It's Friday tomorrow, then Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of next week. Wow. Julie Kelly, where do people go for all your podcasts, your Substack, your social media? Where do they go, ma'am?
Substack is Declassified with Julie Kelly, also Real Clear Investigations. I'm on X, Twitter, Julie_Kelly2, and my podcast, Happy Hour with Liz Sheld.
And Julie's going to be on the Trigger to Marshall Jump On immediately when we know something in the 10 a.m. hour. Julie Kelly, honored to have you on here, ma'am. Thank you.
Thanks, Steve.
Incredible. What is going on? The